So you know that Tech Talk Tuesday episode you sent me? The one about AI?
Yeah, I remember.
Well, it got me thinking. I mean, AI is seriously like everywhere these days.
Right. It really is.
Like you see it in self-driving cars, and then you've got these algorithms that are like predicting what we want before we even know.
It's kind of freaky sometimes, right?
It is. So let's do this. Let's dive deep, really deep, into this whole world of artificial intelligence.
Sounds good to me.
And like, let's not just define it, but let's really try to understand what it all means. For you, for me, for everyone. What do you say?
Absolutely. And I think it's important to start by acknowledging that there's a lot of hype around AI right now.
For sure.
But at its core, AI is really about computer programs that can get this, learn, and make decisions.
Okay, so that sounds a lot like,
A super smart assistant.
yes, that's exactly how they put it in the podcast.
Makes it a bit easier to wrap your head around it, doesn't it?
Definitely. But then that makes me wonder,
And what exactly makes this assistant so smart? How does it actually learn?
yeah, like, is it sitting there reading textbooks or something?
It's not quite hitting the books, no. But it is learning from information, tons of information, actually.
Okay, so walk me through this.
So AI relies on this thing called machine learning.
Machine learning.
Right. Imagine feeding a computer program mountains of data. We're talking images, text, numbers, the whole shebang.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And the program starts to, recognize patterns in all that data.
Ah, I see. So it's like finding connections and making sense of it all.
Exactly. And there are different ways it learns too, like supervised learning, where you give the program labeled data, almost like giving it the answers to study.
Like flashcards for a computer.
Exactly. Then you have unsupervised learning, where the program's on its own. It has to find the patterns without any hints.
Oh, wow, that's impressive.
It is. And that's actually how a lot of services we use every day work. Like, think about Spotify recommending songs.
Oh, or like when Netflix suggests movies.
Exactly. That's all powered by these clever machine learning algorithms.
I always wondered how they did that. So let's get back to the podcast for a sec. One of the things that really stood out to me was their talk about AI in healthcare.
Right. There's some truly groundbreaking stuff happening there.
Can you give us some examples? Like, what are some of the ways AI is already being used in medicine?
I think one of the most fascinating areas is in medical imaging.
Oh, interesting.
There was this study recently where an AI model was actually able to detect signs of breast cancer in mammograms.
Really?
Yeah, and get this, it was even better at it than human radiologists.
Wow, that's incredible. Early detection is so key too.
Exactly. And that's the power of AI in healthcare. It has the potential to, lead to earlier diagnosis, more effective treatments, and ultimately better outcomes for patients.
It's really remarkable. And I remember the podcast touched on this too, there's also this concern about job displacement, right?
Right. And it's a valid concern.
Like, what happens to those radiologists if AI can do their job more efficiently?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's not just healthcare. As AI gets more sophisticated, there's the potential for it to disrupt many industries.
So then what's the solution?
Well, some experts believe that instead of replacing jobs entirely, AI will actually augment human capabilities.
Oh, interesting.
Like in the case of radiologists, AI could become a tool to enhance their own analysis.
I see. So almost like a second opinion, but from a super smart computer.
Exactly. And then radiologists could focus on more complex cases, ones that require that human touch and expertise.
So it's not about competition, but more about collaboration.
Right. And this actually brings up a bigger point about the future of work in general.
I was just thinking about that.
Hmm.
How do you see AI shaping the way we work in the coming years?
I think we're likely to see a shift in the types of jobs that are in demand.
In what way?
We'll likely see a move towards roles that require more creativity, critical thinking, things that are harder to automate.
Some more human-centered skills.
Exactly. And imagine if AI could handle all those routine tasks that bog us down. Oh, that would be amazing.
Right. It would free up humans to focus on more strategic, innovative endeavors.
That's a pretty optimistic outlook. And speaking of solving problems, the podcast also mentioned AI's potential to help tackle some of the big global challenges we're facing.
Absolutely. AI can be a powerful tool for good.
Like, in what areas do you see it making the biggest difference?
Climate change is a prime example. AI can analyze massive amounts of environmental data, way more than humans could ever process on their own.
Okay, so what does that help us do?
Well, it can help us predict weather patterns more accurately, optimize energy consumption, and even develop new sustainable technologies.
Wow, that's really impressive.
It's also being used to track things like deforestation and monitor wildlife populations. And some researchers are even using AI to develop strategies for carbon capture.
So it really does seem like AI has the potential to touch every single aspect of our lives.
It does, and I think that's both exciting and a little bit daunting, wouldn't you say? It definitely is. It makes me wonder, what's the most important thing for people to keep in mind as AI continues to evolve?
It's crucial to remember that AI is a tool, like any other. It can be used for good or it can be used for things that aren't so good.
That makes sense.
It's up to us as a society to really guide its development and make sure it benefits humanity as a whole.
So what can we do?
Staying informed is key. Engaging in conversations like this, advocating for responsible AI practices, these are all really important steps.
You're absolutely right. It's not just about the technology itself, but about the choices we make about how we use it.
Exactly.
That's something I'll definitely be thinking about. Thanks for this insightful deep dive. This has been really eye-opening.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, the future of AI is still being written. We all have a role to play in shaping it.
Absolutely. We'll have to keep talking about this. It's fascinating.
Definitely. Until next time.
Until next time.